The biggest legal question of the moment, can Donald Trump be indicted? And joining me now is Paul Butler, former federal prosecutor and professor at Georgetown Law School. And as I now know, former professor of Michael Avenatti, proud professor here. So, okay, let's get into this. I'm not sure that, just to be blunt, that Rudy Giuliani is really the foremost authority on pretty much anything.
That's right.
But he's talking, and so we have to respond to the things he's saying. This is Rudy Giuliani claiming that he has direct knowledge, I suppose, from talking to folks in the Mueller investigation, that they have narrowed the scope of their investigation. Here he is.
Wednesday night, we received a communication from them. I can't go into detail, but narrowing the subjects for questioning down to about 2. And
from all like 50 of those, that list that came out from Sekulow.
You could actually have divided those, and I did, into like 5 categories, subject areas.
All right, that's fair. 5, maybe 7.
So 3 are down, are out. I mean, no secret that the whole thing with Michael Cohen's out, because that's in the Southern District of New York.
You believe that Mueller has turned over all of that investigation, or do you think he may have reserved certain aspects?
It's my belief that he turned all of it over.
So, Paul, I think he's saying narrowing it down to 2 subjects from 5. Does any of that make sense to you or sound credible to you?
Well, it could be 2, collusion and obstruction of justice. Those 2 are pretty big ones. So the special counsel can subpoena Trump, and that would start a big legal battle that might go all the way up to the Supreme Court. So if they can get Trump to come in voluntarily, then that's better for everybody. At the end of the day, as irresponsible a lawyer as Giuliani is, I can't see him letting Trump go in. Trump would self-implode.
Yeah. Let's hear another thing that Giuliani talked. This is about this is a different interview. This is now on Fox News, and he's talking about the legitimacy of the investigation and wanting the Mueller investigation to be turned over for a criminal referral. Take a listen.
This is a far worse crime and intrusion on democracy than a non-Russian conspiracy. And who's investigating it? I hope that this is turned over for criminal referral. And I hope for once the Justice Department wakes up and investigates something other than, you know, empowering Mueller to do an illegitimate investigation. It is illegitimate.
I take it that he believes that Robert Mueller investigating Donald Trump or the FBI attempting to ascertain whether a foreign power was interfering in an American presidential campaign is itself a crime. To investigate that is a crime. Your thoughts?
I don't get it, Joy. You know, you can't really say Rudy Giuliani has fallen from grace because he never had grace in the first place. Many New Yorkers have always known that he's erratic, highly partisan, and has no respect for civil rights or civil liberties unless they apply to rich white dudes. Now we see that he's a bad lawyer. You know, his one claim to fame was that he stood up for New York City on 9/11. So you would think he'd be especially concerned about national security, about our democracy, which is the subject of the Mueller investigation, and yet he's calling for that investigation to be halted. He told CNN that if he were the Attorney General, that he would stop the investigation. So this is a man who, again, has no respect for the rule of law.
Well, let's talk about the rule of law here, because there is a question of whether or not a sitting president can be indicted. Let's say that Robert Mueller finds absolute crimes, bribery, you know, obstruction of justice. Can he indict the sitting president of the United States?
So there's Department of Justice rules which have no more force of law than an employee handbook. Under those rules, the president, as sitting, cannot be indicted. And Mueller is bound to follow those rules, basically because Rod Rosenstein is his boss, and Rosenstein is going to enforce those laws. As a matter of constitutional law, there's 2 cases on point. One is the Jones case, Jones versus Clinton, which says that the president can be made to testify in a civil case. The only criminal case is the Nixon case, and that was about documents. So the president can be forced to turn over documents. Now, if you put those 2 cases together and take those to the Supreme Court, I think it's fairly clear that the court would say that the president can be required to testify. Even under the view that he can't be indicted while sitting, The constitutional remedy is impeachment, and then after he's removed from office, there's no question that he could be charged with a crime.
And very quickly before we go, if let's say a president cannot be indicted, then couldn't a president in theory commit murder and then walk away from it?
Well, again, the remedy would be up to the Congress. The remedy would be he would be impeached by the House, convicted by the Senate, removed from office, and then charged with that high crime or misdemeanor.
Wow. Paul Butler, thank you very much, giving us a lesson.